Good morning. This is Oran from Intigua, and I will be showing this in this short video how you can use Intigua to set up the CloudVelox agent for cloud migration. So, without further ado, let's look at the packaging process for the CloudVelox agent. And I've already pre-packaged the CloudVelox agent here, so we'll just take a brief look at the packaging. So this packaging, as you can see, is for the Ubuntu variation of the CloudVelox installer, and I can repeat the same packaging or copy paste it between different flavors of Linux. I already set up the version number, the icon, etc. So let's move on. Now here is where I define the installation process. Note that I have already defined a number of parameters that are going to be used in the process by Intigua to configure the CloudVelox agent, and it's not just the trivial ones that you get in the command line parameters of the installer. It's a few more that I'm supporting here, and I'll show in a minute how they're used. The installation sequence itself is very simple. I'm not doing anything particular before the installation. During the installation, I'm using the Intigua installer for the CloudVelox installer for Ubuntu, which I already uploaded. And I'm already using one of the parameters. I'm going to use the parameter which is SRM IP address, and not as it says here from a previous version. And I'm going to be using that parameter as a way of telling the installer, here is the address that you should be using. And I'm also using the quiet parameter because I want this to be quiet and not be interrupted by any questions. Following the sequence, I don't do anything particular after the installation, very simple. As part of this packaging process, Intigua has learned the installation procedure of the CloudVelox agent, and as you can see, it identified this particular service called Denali Sentinel, that is the actual service running the CloudVelox agent. And if we look at the details, you can see that it also has this PID file. So we know everything that we need to know about this service in order to verify that we can start it, stop it, and monitor it. One more thing that we want to do as part of this packaging when we configure the CloudVelox agent is we want to use all these nice parameters on the right-hand side. From a brief look at the agent, we noticed that it has an SQLite database that is used to maintain all of these parameters. So basically, we've created this nice script called update Denali database that just extracts these, that just uses these parameters out of the environment as provided by Intigua and uses them to reconfigure the CloudVelox agent. And you can actually see this is the script. We've already packaged it as well. Very simple. Just goes to the database and uploads and updates the variables. Now, moving on, we also set up the uninstaller parameters. So this is how CloudVelox typically gets uninstalled, and Intigua also does its own checks and completions for the uninstall process if needed, which is about it. So let's save our agent and let's move out and create and download the package. So I'm going to actually generate now a package that I'm going to be able to import into Intigua out of this. It's generating my package and it's being uploaded. The thing that I'm going to do is I've already uploaded the agent into Intigua, and I'm going to create a management service for CloudVelox. And as I create this service, let's look at the parameters that I can feed in. These are all the parameters that I defined just a few minutes ago in the packaging service. So I'm going to not change all of those parameters that I don't have to change. I am going to select the SRM IP address, and I'm going to do that using an address that I saw in the downloaded package. And here it is. That's the one required parameter here. So if I don't use it, I'm going to get yelled at by Intigua. And besides that, there's plenty more that I can do here. I can control the agent resources. I can plug it into CloudVelox backend if we need to, but that's for a later date. So I'm saving my management service, and here you see my management service has been created. Again, this is just for Ubuntu. I would add the other packages for other operating systems as well in a more broad deployment. So now let's look at my servers, and in this demo setup there are two servers. One of them is the actual Intigua server that we are accessing here, and the other is an Ubuntu endpoint. And let's try to deploy CloudVelox into this endpoint. So I just go to server actions, apply remove management services. I'm going to select CloudVelox, the one service that I have here, and apply it. Yes, I'm sure about that. No, there is no ticket ID associated with this task. And there we go. Intigua is now deploying CloudVelox. This will likely take a few seconds for Intigua to communicate and for the CloudVelox installation to take place. As you can see, the CloudVelox agent is deploying. It's now deployed but still in stopped state. Intigua is now configuring it as well with the parameters that we've set up, and then it will start it. And this is it. Voila, we have CloudVelox deployed on the endpoint. Now, to show you how those parameters that we have defined affect the CloudVelox agent, let's now SSH into that endpoint and check out the SQLite database on that endpoint. Here I am logged into the CloudVelox endpoint. I'm going to be pasting this command, running it, and you can see those parameters that I have defined, such as the IP address, taking effect. If I had changed any of the other parameters, they would also be appearing here the way that I set up in Intigua. And of course, I could now define other management services with different configurations and reconfigure the CloudVelox agent as necessary. So to recap, we have seen Intigua easily packaging the CloudVelox agent for deployment. We have seen how we can support both installer parameters and via the command line, as well as other parameters that can be pushed via script or also templates. Once we have the CloudVelox agent packaged, we have seen how it can be easily deployed remotely to various servers. We've seen how easy it is to configure, and obviously we could just as well use the same screens to reconfigure agents that have been already deployed. We have seen how we can push to one endpoint, but as you saw in the Intigua UI, we can support bulk push into very large numbers of endpoints at the same time. And we can also use the Intigua policies mechanism in order to automate the agent push, so that whenever a server comes into existence or starts to meet certain metadata-based criteria, Intigua will automatically push the right configuration of CloudVelox agent into that server. Thank you.